Hi there, and welcome to another video tutorial from Cornflower Iris. This time I'll be showing you how to make this masculine thank you card with some hot air balloons and some Distress Oxide ink. So to begin with, I used some 250 GSM A3 cardstock that I first of all cut to 8 3/8 of an inch to make an envelope. And then I cut it to 8 inches by 14.8 centimeters, sorry to switch it up, but this is roughly an A6 card blank in the UK. I then scored it at 4 inches and burnished well. So I'm using Distress Oxide ink in broken china, and I'm just cutting a map that's using some of the leftover from the A3 card, making it about 5/8 of an inch smaller on both dimensions, and then I'm applying the ink straight to the paper. Sorry about this new camera, it should hopefully be in focus compared to previous videos, but it is taking a bit of time with the autofocus. I promise I'll get better with it next time. So I'm drying the ink straight away with a heat tool, and then applying some over the other side. I didn't completely dry the ink because it's got a pigment in it, and so it takes quite a while to dry. Don't forget to clean up your ink mat. So at this point you can't see it in the video, but it started smoking in one corner and it looks a little bit burnt. So definitely be careful how hot you have your heat gun and how close you hold it. I think the pigments in the ink sort of burn after a while because the cardstock was still intact. So I have these gorgeous hot air balloon stamps from Hampton Art, and these stamps I was planning on watercolouring, but when I just looked at them and how awesome they look, they need no further decoration really, do they? So I'm using Archival ink in Sepia because I was planning on doing some watercolour, and I'm just stamping them on some spare pieces of cardstock from that A3 piece of card. This is a lovely smooth cardstock, so it will take watercolours quite nicely too. So I have two main balloons, and now I'm working on the background by splashing some water on it. So I just took the nozzle out of the spray tube and just tapped my finger on the top of it to create some splotches. Left it on for a little while and then mopped it up with a paper towel. With the second set of splotches, I'm waiting less time, so there's kind of a two-tone effect, and this activates the ink and gives out those oxide properties. I'm now stamping directly onto the background with some Sepia Archival ink, a couple of the smaller hot air balloons. I'm sorry this is off camera, just to one corner, another hot air balloon off the corner. It makes it look like they're rising up. The other balloons are then going to form focal points, so because the white is very harsh compared to the sepia and the blue background, I've got some watercolour pens from docrafts. I might do a review video with these sometime in the future. This was the first time I've used them. They're really nice. So I found the colour that most matched the background, scribbled some on an acrylic block, and now I'm using some water brush pens. These are from Pentel, and this is the narrowest one in a pack of 3. So I'm just picking that off the acrylic block and allowing a very light wash to go in the background. This just means that it's much less harsh than the white, and it's subtle, but it does make a huge difference when it's on the card. I fussy cut this out, mostly off camera, sorry, and left the little parts dangling off the edge of the balloon off because they were too fiddly to cut out. And then for the other hot air balloon, I'm just adding this in, and you can see a bit better here what difference it really makes compared to the white. And this was so easy to fussy cut out as well, despite being a very complex design. So I stuck this onto the card front with some foam pads to add some dimension. I didn't want to overdo it with the front, but I felt a matte was in order, so here I've got some light grey cardstock from Fabriano. So I cut a rectangle that's a 1/4 inch smaller than the outside of the card in both dimensions, and then I'm going around the edge with some ordinary Distress ink in Vintage Photo with an ink blending tool, and then I'm using tape runner to stick everything together. I felt that matte was more effective than using black cardstock or craft cardstock, and just really added up to this sepia effect. Sorry about the crazy autofocus. So for the inside, I'm using that spare balloon just to augment it and really complement the front panel. And then I found this stamp set from Crafter's Companion. I think it came from their Crafter's Inspiration magazine. I'm using some VersaMark ink to stamp this in the corner, and then using some copper embossing powder to go over this. So I used an anti-static tool first because the ink, I wasn't quite sure if it was dry as well, but I managed to get most of the excess off just with a dry paintbrush. A cheap dry paintbrush as well, so you don't ruin your best ones. And then don't forget to keep the excess in the bottle. I've had this jar of embossing powder for ages, and look how magical it is when it melts. It really never gets old. So now I've got a nice sentiment that stands out on the front. On the inside I'm using another sentiment from the same stamp set, Grateful for You, and just stamping it in sepia ink. So for the card itself, I'm making an envelope that is a box envelope, because there's only a little bit of dimension, I know, but it adds something to the card, I think, if you have a really nice envelope. So I'm really making sure to score those lines on the 123 punch board, and the punching and scoring occurs at 3.5 inches for this card size. There is an app, the Envelope Generator app, if you do have this punch board, and it helps you make envelopes for any size of card, which is really versatile and useful. So making sure to burnish those lines really well, I'm going to decorate the envelope using those same hot air balloon stamps and using the same sepia ink, just to keep everything tying in nicely. I got some red liner tape out in the background because this tape is very strong, and when you're making a box envelope it's really important to keep a strong tape on there. You don't want it suddenly springing apart. So that's what I'm using here, and I use one of the tiny hot air balloons on the apex of the envelope. I'll show you some stills at the end, it's really gorgeous. So I'm using some embossing folders inside just to press onto and help me stick everything together. Make sure the card fits beautifully in the envelope, and then I used a glue dot which I stuck with my finger multiple times to make sure it's not too sticky, just to close the envelope. And that's the card for today done. I hope you enjoyed this video. You can follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram and Google+, so don't forget to check those out. I'll leave you with some stills. Thank you very much for watching. If you liked the video, please hit the like button and subscribe to my channel and tell your friends about it. Thanks again, and I'll catch you next time.